Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Busy day in the Big 12 Conference today. Basketball. Kansas is in action right now against the Utah Utes at Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas is up 38-31 with about 50 seconds to go in the first half. Here's an interesting score. BYU's next opponent after today, coming up on Tuesday, BYU's going to walk into a hornet's nest in Waco against Baylor. Rob Wright's probably thrilled about that one. That's going to be a supercharged environment at Foster Pavilion. But Baylor's on the road.
I wish you would have said Bear Den instead of Hornet's Nest.
I missed that. Thank you.
It was just right there for
you. It was
you.
a Bear Den. What's a semi-pro with Will Ferrell? What, didn't he wrestle a bear
I have
in
not
semi-pro?
seen that movie.
You didn't see Will Ferrell?
I need
semi-pro?
to. I've wanted to.
It's a good movie. Baylor is on the road in Ames at Iowa State, 45-44. Iowa State, the seventh-ranked Cyclones, only up by one with about. They're at the under-16 media timeout in the second half at Hilton Coliseum. So Baylor maybe turning things around a little bit, and then also basically beat the game to decide who's in the cellar of the Big 12. Kansas State 51, TCU 47 in Fort Worth. Man, TCU struggling. That same TCU team that gave BYU a run for its money. And see, that's kind of a little bit of the issue, too, with BYU. You kind of size up the record right now. BYU's 5-3 in Big 12 play. They hit the midway point today. Their wins, when you dive into it, two of them are against Utah, who's the last place team. They're the 16th place team right now. Another win is against Kansas State, who's 15th. TCU's another win. So, I mean, you've got a bulk of your wins, and then Arizona State, who's also in the back half of the league. So all five of your wins are not that great. Same can be said for Houston, other than their Texas Tech win at home. But that's where a little bit of some questions about BYU kind of rise, because even within those five wins, there were some close calls. Utah and Salt Lake was a close call. TCU was a close call. These teams aren't that great, but maybe it's the Big 12. Every game's a grinder. I also think, too, Kyle, and I asked Kevin Young about this last Tuesday, I believe. I think there's something different, too, with BYU this year in terms of they're going into venues where they are a circled opponent. The last 2 years in the Big 12, they've been kind of out of sight, out of mind. They've kind of went in sleepy gyms and haven't been kind of a circled opponent. And I think that came to forefront for me at Kansas last week, because when Bill Self goes to the podium, and Bill Self's been coaching for 23 years, and he said that the Allen Fieldhouse crowd in the first half against BYU was as good of an atmosphere as he's ever seen, it made me think, whoa, what are we doing here? Like, BYU's got to rise to the occasion. They're going into hostile gyms. Like, they are a targeted team because AJ gets so much pub. People look at these opportunities against BYU to where, hey, I can elevate my profile. I can make a name for myself when I'm taking down AJ and BYU. I think there's something to be said about that, too. And, look, BYU still got to execute, and they're still winning games. I know lately they've been struggling, but I think that's something that I think plays a role in some of BYU's struggles in Big 12 play as well. I mean,
that's the exact situation that occurred on Saturday last week. You saw it firsthand at Kansas, and the fact that, I brought up to you earlier, there were comments made about how AJ was defending Darren Peterson last week. Jalen Rose had some comments on that, and just the focus that has been on AJ whenever BYU's on TV, whenever they're in the opposing gym. To the schedule, Mitch, that's why this Houston game I think is so critical, because you talk about their wins being against down opponents in the Big 12 standings. You've got Baylor, who's at the bottom end. You've got Colorado at the bottom end. And then you've got Arizona and Iowa State, who are ranked 1 and 7 right now. So you've got two of these games that you should hypothetically chalk up as a win after today's game. But then you're back at it against two of the top 10 programs in the country.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Houston's a good team, but you've got to be able to show that you can be in, not just in those games, but be able to pull off victory in one of them, because not many chances are left, and BYU still lacks that really, really good win.
BYU 0-4 in games where they're an underdog heading in tonight. They're prognosticated as a underdog by about 1.5 heading into tonight's game against the Houston Cougars. Next week, BYU takes on Baylor on Tuesday in Waco, and then next Saturday, Colorado. That's probably, I would say, the easiest game remaining on the schedule. And then it's at Arizona, it's Iowa State. Life in the Big 12 is not easy, but this is what BYU signed up for. But it does highlight the importance of tonight's game, because this could go from a 3-game skid to 5 quick. And you're going, whoa, this is not what BYU is accustomed to. So big game tonight for BYU against the Houston Cougars. Let's take a break. We'll get some BYU football, and you'll also hear from a BYU basketball signee next.